Gretchen, stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
Hey! We're recording the podcast! Shut up!
Good morning to you, wherever you are, because it is a morning somewhere! For November 26, 2024. My name is Bernie Burns, sitting right over there. She's the better part of Burnkins. Ashley Burns. Hi to Ashley, everybody.
Good morning.
Burkins is not our company name. It's Ashburn, right? That's the better version.
Yeah.
Better.
We've been trying to figure out, everyone has their fun couple name where you put the two names together and
Not
smoosh
everybody.
them into one. Not everyone does. Well,
There are normal people in this world.
We've tried to figure out what our stupid couple name will be, and they almost all sound bad, like Burnkins, right? Unless you're a high-end bag, that's like, it's not sounding great. So the closest we've come up with is Ashburns, but even that, it still feels like two words.
Yeah, and it's just us trying to make something happen, right?
We're gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
But speaking of making things happen, the big news, Bernie, has been the theater debut of Wicked and Gladiator, or as everyone is trying to call it, Glicked.
Oh, Glicked. Oh, that makes more sense. I was reading it as Glicked. Glicked. Glicked sounds like the thing that the kid on the back of the bus could do, where he could like spray water from under his tongue. It's like that kid who could turn his eyelids inside out. Do kids do that anymore? Kids did that a lot in the 80s and 90s.
Kids report in. Do you still turn your eyelids inside out?
Did you have
I do.
that kid?
I remember that. Everyone could flip them out. But all the
Now we've got Twitter. We don't do that anymore.
But yeah, so Wicked and Gladiator came out in theaters, and a lot of media is trying to make Glicked happen as like it feels like someone in a marketing room somewhere was like, you guys remember how great Barbenheimer was?
Absolutely.
And how awesome that was for both of those movies at the box office. And then they both went on to do really well. Let's just do that again. We can, let's go viral, guys.
You remember that thing that was like totally organic and spontaneous? What if we did it again without any of the organic spontaneity? That would be amazing.
It's like that's the thing about these like meme things, right? Is some of them work out. Some of them work out really well. There's these beautiful, fun, organic things. Barbenheimer was one of them. The Minions with the kids going to watch the movie in suits. Some of these things are great. Some of them don't work out. Like when things get memed really hard and then no one goes to see them, like Morbius, which happened twice. For them.
What does that mean?
That meant Sony re-released Morbius in theaters because of all the memes, and they thought, oh, people were really into this. It'll do great. They re-released it in theaters, and no one went to saw it again. But both Wicked and Gladiator have come out. They're not suffering the Morbius treatment. They are both doing very, very well. So Wicked opened with a $114 million box office. Gladiator did 60, although Gladiator is a little bit weird because it did open a week earlier in some markets, like I believe the UK. So the math gets a little bit funky.
They still do that these days to generate word of mouth, right? Because if it opens another market, then people start talking about it and people start printing articles about it. And then why not release it internationally first, so you just get even that much more free marketing before it goes to the big domestic box office opening?
Yeah, give us the stuff first.
Yeah.
We'll say nice things about you.
I didn't understand when the Marvel movies first started doing it, but it actually makes sense if you think about it that way. Like, save your biggest market for last, even if it's only 7 days, you know?
Right, yeah. Just a little bit of word of mouth can help with movies that you think are really, really great and the audiences are going to respond to. And
I know people listening to this will be like, well, there's a concern for spoilers. Let me assure you, marketing people don't care about spoilers at all. That is not how their job performance is measured.
Unfortunately, no, it is not. It is on the hype. But based on all like the word of mouth and the reviews and everything, both of these movies are going to continue to do very well. They're going to have good legs. So, Bernie, there is a chance that Wicked can save the box office for 2024. So we talked about this, where this might be the first year where the top 10 movies at the box office are all sequels.
It's currently that situation right now. All 10 movies in the top 10 are sequels, which is crazy.
And so it looks like Wicked has a really good chance to break into the top 10 and make it sequels and adaptations.
And one adaptation.
But still, it still saves it.
Unless Gladiator II beats Wicked. Well, I guess let's think about this. So to break into the top 10, what is currently the lowest earning 2024 top 10 movie, which would by default have to be a sequel?
Right. So looking at the worldwide numbers, the number 10 movie is currently The Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, the movie of The Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Why did they just call that Planet of the Apes Kingdom?
Look, unless they're gonna
Easier to say.
It's because they locked themselves in way too early with this like thing of the Planet of the Apes, and unless they're gonna pull a
like
Fast
Rise
and Furious
of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah. So unless they're going to pull a Fast and Furious and just completely give up on the naming conventions, they're sort of stuck with it, right? But that movie did $397 million at the box office.
I'm looking up on Amazon right now, by the way. I'm looking up to see if there's a book of the movie of the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
It did 170 million domestic. So I think Wicked is in a really good place to get in the top 10. But Bernie, there's a snag.
A snag?
There's a snag.
There's always a snag, Ashley.
In this potential plan to save the box office by Wicked. And that is a snag coming out this weekend. It's a little film called Moana 2. A sequel.
Moana 2 is coming out this weekend? How can it come out? I've been seeing production stills for Moana 2. in the...
No, Bernie, you are thinking of the live action Moana, which is a totally different project. Okay,
so there's an animated sequel to Moana coming out?
And it's coming out this weekend.
I have not heard anything about that. And why are they putting out publicity photos from the live action one if they got the animated one coming out this weekend?
Maybe they're trying to build like franchise hype. I'm not really sure. But Moana 2 is coming out for an extended Thanksgiving weekend. And it is probably going to go straight into the top 10.
Right.
And so I'm expecting that that means
Especially
Wicked is going
if it's
to
worldwide.
have to...
Animated does well worldwide. I don't know how well a Broadway musical about a very Western movie is going to do at the global box office.
It's doing well, but I don't know that it's going to do Moana well. So that means that we're going to also have to knock Bad Boys Ride or Die out of the top 10. And that one is a good example of a movie that it did well. It did really well overall worldwide. It did 404 million. So that's now our worldwide total that Wicked needs to pass.
To lock itself in.
Yes. And it did 193 million domestic. So we need to get above that point for Wicked because Moana is going to probably go, I'm going to make a guess that it could even hit the top 5. And so that means that Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is going to get knocked out no matter what.
Well, it happens.
So now we're fighting Bad Boys Ride or Die.
Happens to the best of us.
But no, Moana is actually expected to do like insane numbers. They're expecting 100 million plus for the overseas market and between 125 million and 135 million for its 5-day domestic opening.
I'm looking at the upcoming releases for the remainder of 2024. Are you aware that Mufasa, the live-action Lion King sequel, comes out the 20th of December?
What?
Yeah.
Really?
So that could sneak in. I don't know if it'll do that much money. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 comes out 21st of December. An original movie could really save the day here, Kraven the Hunter. I'm sure that'll destroy the box office. So
it's Kraven time.
So there's 2 big sequels. I'm going to consider Mufasa to be a sequel.
Yes.
A sequel to The Lion King, but it's
I guess it's a prequel.
The whatever. What do we determine these quote unquote live action all CG movies are called?
Live-ish.
Yeah, live-ish. So that's coming out. Wicked, even if it gets to number 8, is not a lock.
It's weird how invested I am in this for absolutely no reason.
Place your bets.
This is like I'm following sports except for like movie nerds.
Is it going to fall off, you think, Wicked? Do you think the people who are really excited to see Wicked saw it already? I'm reading all good things about it.
Maybe. I've seen people say that they're going to see it again, and that I've seen a lot of other people very disappointed that it's so great because they were ready for this movie to just be a total bomb. They were ready for this to be Cats, okay?
Really?
And for it to come out and actually be really amazing, people are like, oh. Well, okay. So if they can ratchet that up a little bit into some maybe even grudging enthusiasm to go see it, it could do well.
Well, while we are on the topic of trying to make things happen, did you read the articles that were floating around all this weekend? We did not talk about it yesterday, about the gigantic comet that is flying through our solar system, an 85-mile wide comet that is flying through our solar system. Let me tell you something to media outlets in the modern society. If you're going to make an article like this, once I click on your article, that is our social contract fulfilled. At that point, tell me in the first paragraph that it's not going to hit Earth. You know that's why I'm clicking on your article. I clicked on your goddamn headline. Tell me in the first paragraph it's not going to hit us. It's not going to come within 1 billion miles of the Earth.
Right. So now our social contract is fulfilled. Yes, there's a big 85-mile meteor hurtling through the solar system. No, we're not in danger.
Basically, it's Houston, Texas in space. It's just like, that's how big this fucking thing is.
That's how you put it in context. I don't really have an appreciation for the size of Houston, so I had to put it into a context that I do understand, Bernie, and that is giraffes. So I did a little bit of math. Are you ready for this? Okay. So assuming that a giraffe can be 217 inches tall, that one came from Google. Thank you very much. We're looking.
Inches, you're using Okay, go ahead. Inches is not the scale I would use with giraffes.
It's the specificity that I need, okay?
Oh, I see, okay.
We're going to take this 85-mile meteor, and we're going to stack 24,818 giraffes right on top of each other, head to foot, 24,818 giraffes. And the good news is, Bernie, we can do that because there are 117,000 giraffes around the world. So we could actually do this for a couple of meteors if we want to.
How do they know that? There's 117,000 giraffes in the world?
No, it's a census.
They went out and they just counted. Give me a break.
Hey, Bob, no, get back in line. You already been counted. We know that.
How many people live in your giraffe household? They have this enormous census sheet with these huge check boxes. If you're counting, I'm down a rabbit hole now. If you're counting giraffes, how do you know? If you get to past like 1,000, how do you know you haven't counted this giraffe?
It's because of the spots.
117,000 seems like a lot of giraffes.
It does seem like a lot of giraffes. That's good. That's a healthy giraffe population until we chuck them out in space and start stacking them.
Well, Amazon took all their Toys R Us jobs, so they're really struggling right now in general.
The giraffe economy is in shambles.
It is. It's in shambles, Ashley. That affects the turtleneck industry. It all cascades into everything. I was reading, by the way, Amazon now is trying to. This is a crazy stretch for Amazon. They're going to try to compete with AI chip manufacturer, to beat NVIDIA, to curb that. And they're moving into that industry, which is somebody has to at some point.
Well, look, I figure Amazon's got a really easy way to dominate this, right? All they have to do is they list their chips on Amazon, whatever, and you go and you go, oh, it's Amazon's choice. And
For AI chips?
For AI chips, sure.
Yeah, if you're building...
Do you think they have like Amazon for engineers or whatever, where they're like, you can go on, you can buy like whatever your chipset, and they're going to go, this is Amazon's choice, and you go, how could I lose?
I like the idea of NVIDIA losing the AI race because they can't figure out the shipping. They're like, how can Amazon ship this overnight for nothing?
Look, they've announced this just in time for Black Friday. So really, they're firing on all cylinders.
So this all leads to another discussion. Did you also read the articles about this Macy's accounting employee? They're being really careful, I think, about the way they're saying it. Right now, the way the headlines read is that one employee is responsible for $150 million of missing expenditures in shipping.
Yes.
They're not saying it's embezzlement. They're not saying it's malicious, but it's clear from the tone of the article it is something they are investigating in that way.
Yeah, my assumption was that someone like stole $150 million, right? Like they embezzled it or something. They spent it on Birkin bags. But no.
Finally have a use for that. We should trademark that.
But no, so this is from an article by AP News. And it says,
all the weeks for this to happen, Ashley, it has to happen during the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade week.
Look, maybe that's this is the beginning of a heist movie. And it's going to be a heist where they're going to be jumping. They're going to be running and jumping over the balloons in the middle of the parade.
It's like a tornado on your birthday. They wait all year for this.
So this is from this article says, an independent investigation and forensic analysis found that a single employee with responsibility for small package delivery expense accounting intentionally made erroneous accounting accrual entries to hide roughly $132 million to $154 million of expenses. So
there's a big swing.
There's so many words there that individually I understand what those words mean, but together they're all saying a lot of, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. A big company like Macy's, I just looked this up, by the way, Macy's market cap, and this is according to companiesmarketcap.com. They are about the 3,000th largest company in the world, or at least publicly traded. They have a market cap of $4.42 billion, which is important because as a result, I think, of this article coming out, their stock dropped by 8% yesterday.
Ooh.
Yeah. And 8% off of $4.42 billion is $353 million. So they lost value in their company greater than even the crime itself.
Double.
Or the incident or whatever it was.
And that's crazy to me because the other part of this article says that the company recognized about $4.36 billion of delivery expenses during the time period that this erroneous accounting took place. So they do as much in their just delivery expenses as their entire market cap.
Yeah. That's just their public stock value, essentially, at that point in time. You know, it goes into your revenue and your expenditures. When you add those up, don't necessarily equal the value of your company, at least not when you're publicly traded. It's
just crazy to me when you get companies operating at that scale. Like $4.3 billion, that's just what they spent on delivery expenses.
Well, it's crazy too because there's I was going to say, this is a huge company. So when this thing comes up, they're very careful about what they say because if this person just made an error and they present it as something that was deliberate or criminal, then the person could come back and sue this $4 billion company and probably get a lot of money. So companies are always like really, 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 really careful about what they say publicly. Oh, very careful.
Fair enough. And
but they do have to report it because I guess this is a big work week for earnings for retail companies on Wall Street. In fact, it's what's driving a lot of the Wall Street gains this week is the retail sector.
Well, the good news, though, is I suspect they will get their 8% that they lost in their market cap back as soon as the Thanksgiving Day parade hits. And they're
huge for them.
You should see their new balloons this year.
Do you care about that at all? Like, has that ever been a part of your Thanksgiving Day traditions?
No, I've never really followed it, but I think it's great that it exists. Does that make sense?
Yeah, to me, it feels like such an old school thing. It's like the World's Fair. It was like things that we did for entertainment before there were actual entertaining things to do in the world.
Well, look here. It says that the Macy's is going to turn the whole parade into a drone show. No, that is not real.
That's not real.
Not real. I'm not trying to manipulate Macy's market cap.
You think they'll have a Wicked float or something like that this year? Glicked. They'll push the Glicked thing.
It's defying gravity.
Can't leave the gladiators out of it.
You like movies about gladiators?
Like, what do you think of being the classic Macy's Day Parade float or balloon?
Let's see. It's going to be a cartoon of some kind. Maybe like Disney something? No.
I feel like the term float, by the way, it covers a lot of territory in parades. Like it's either a little moving stage that people stand on, or it's gigantic Snoopy floating through the sky.
Snoopy, that's what it is. That's like the quintessential Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade.
I think of Snoopy as well.
Like balloon, right?
By the way, I feel like Woodstock as a character has fallen off. The bird, like I feel like he was a bigger deal. I feel like Woodstock is due for a comeback. Don't you? Last time you heard anyone talk about Woodstock.
He's going to be leading the balloons this Thanksgiving Day parade.
Maybe he had some kind of scandal. They just kind of pushed him to the background or something.
Are there any other parades that do the balloon thing?
Like, I'm sure. I can't even think of another holiday. Like, why do we have a big parade on Thanksgiving and not? Why isn't there a big 4th of July parade?
It's weird. It's Christmas kickoff. It's like you've congratulations. You woke up from your turkey coma or whatever. All right, it's Christmas time.
Here's what I'd like to start a rumor that hidden in one of those floats is $150 million of missing expenditures. People be out there trying to pop them all. Can you imagine that? $150 million floats to the ground. That would be amazing. That would be absolutely amazing.
It would do wonders for the market cap.
Yeah, so they're trying to figure out what this is. And because there's such little information about this, I went to some of the Reddit comment threads in some of the general subreddits to read about it. And it was crazy the number of people weighing in of how this could happen. There were people saying like, yeah, I worked at this company and I was consolidated and acquired by another company and then moved and absorbed by another entity. And after like 3 or 4 moves like that, I was the only person in my department and I was approving and making my own expenditures. And it was really clear to me how quickly I could just rack up whatever the hell I wanted to, and nobody would have seen it.
Like there's no oversight whatsoever.
And I won't say this in particular. I'll leave out some details here because this is a person talking about what is a real world crime, or at least purporting that. But a person posted in this is in the R News subreddit on the Macy's accounting discrepancy stories. I had a friend who... let me anonymize this. I had a friend who worked for 2 years embezzling money from a computer manufacturer that we both worked for, and he took away about $15 million. And then later, somebody asked him for details. He said he worked for a computer manufacturing company. He was having laptops shipped to a warehouse and stripping them for parts and then reselling them back to the company as new. Once they found out, they went after everything he had, even his kids' 529s. That's an educational savings account. His wife wasn't implicated, so he kept his house and I think another house as well. He got greedy. Worked there for like 8 or 9 years and retired. We always wondered how he was able to afford so many nice things and rental properties. He was always a, quote, wheeler and dealer. That fucking guy, man. It's crazy he only got 2 years.
Wow. For $15 million.
Maybe even less than that. Just can't remember when he went into jail. Did some time at a posh place in Santa Monica or Santa Barbara. I can't remember. He's at a halfway house now and goes home January 25. He should have stopped at like $5 million, man. Sent the money offshore and jetted out of the US of A and retire in luxury.
Well, look, let's look at this here though. Based on like your airplane math, right? Where you don't want to justify the cost of an upgrade from economy to business, because if someone were to pay you that difference in fare to sit in an uncomfortable chair for say 8 hours, you would absolutely take the money, right? Let's assume this guy was able to keep the $15 million. He buried it or something, like Logan Lucky style. He hid it in a Macy's.
Logan Lucky. Wow, that's a deep cut on that. Wow.
A great movie, by the way. It's Ocean 7-Eleven. Definitely check it out.
Is that what they called it?
It's like a nickname for it.
That's
Ocean
better than Glicked.
7-Eleven. It's a fantastic movie. Definitely check it out. Or they hid it in a Macy's balloon or something. And so let's assume that somehow he's hid the $15 million, right? Is 2 years worth the $15 million?
That's the entire Reddit discussion after this going, I would do 2 years for $15 million in a heartbeat.
Right, you get $7.5 million a year and no one bothers you.
You don't get to keep the money though.
Well, I'm saying, assuming that he managed to hide it.
And
right?
that they can never get it back. I assume that would play into the length of your sentence. Like if they don't get the money back.
I don't know. Does it?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we talked about before with FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried have how they froze all the assets of FTX.
Oh, and a lot of the creditors ended up making money
because it sat there for so long. And if some of those people still have been paid, I mean, think about what that's done now, Because
that's true, because now it's up and up.
What did we calculate the Bitcoin was at when they froze all that stuff? Was it like 28,000 or something? And now it's come down from its high a little bit, but it's still in like the mid 90s as of the recording of this podcast. But yeah, it's crazy. But that's a really interesting Reddit thread because it's a lot of like people who work in corporate accounting and all the ways they could be walking away with like tons of money. That kind of stuff scares the shit out of me.
Right. It's like, it's practically Hollywood math with how magic it is.
Well, the other thing is too, it's like the articles are always about the people that get caught. How many people get away with it? How many people take the $5 million, retire, and then if you just invest that at 6% interest a year, that's $300,000 a year, that you can make. As long as the problem is, like the guy said, people get greedy. You could never not touch the $5 million, I don't think.
Right, because then what did you do it all for anyway?
But if you could pull off a heist and you're guaranteed a $300,000 a year salary free, for the rest of your life, why not be able to, just do that and walk away? People just can't do it. It's the same mindset that makes you a criminal, I suppose, right?
Well, that's of the criminals that get caught anyway.
All right, who are the people we're going to be auditing today, Ashley?
All right, we're going to be auditing Lachlan Ord and RPS 305. We've got our eyes on you.
We're coming for you. You've been notified. Stop shredding your documents. We're on our way to see you.
No, but in all honesty, thank you both for sponsoring this episode of our show, patreon.com/morningsomewhere. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, and people have been really happy with the video episode that we put out this weekend.
Yeah, people have said very nice things. Thank you. We appreciate it.
And we, with the influx of new patrons on the Patreon, thank you very much. We appreciate that support.
We're happy to have you with us.
We'll have to make some more of those, I suppose. All right, well, that does it for us today. November 26, 2024. We will be back to talk to you tomorrow. We hope you will be here as well.
Bye, everybody.